What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Clocks Running, the podcast for everything flag football officials. I'm your host, Ant, and it is our 20th episode, and we have an exciting one planned tonight. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. I want to bring in an official all the way on the other side of the United States, and he is one of the only officials I know that has seven different Facebook profiles. So here we go. What up, Joe?
Hey, my guy. Oh man.
What up, man? Any plans? Any plans to create some more social media profiles in the near future?
I might change personality in another couple months. So yeah, man.
All right, cool. All right. Before we get into the topics tonight, I just want to. I see your shirt, man. I just want to get into it a little bit. I know the announcements came over social media about the men's and the women's national teams. You spent this last
Mm.
weekend there live, seeing them cut it from 18 to 12. So tell me all about it, man. All your experiences. Let me hear it.
Man, it was a wonderful experience. I got a chance to meet some of the coolest coaches, the players. I felt like it was a lot of great talent, a lot of great athletes. That's the biggest part, cutting it from the 18 to 12, because I know everyone deserves opportunity. But being in that predicament where you got to cut them down from the 18 to 12, congratulations to everyone who did make the team. They played their heart out for the past couple months trying to get themselves prepared to make the team. So, like I say, it was a wonderful experience to get a chance to meet a lot of different refs, network with them, talk with them, see their style and things of the nature. But it was a one opportunity. It was a great opportunity.
Yes, sir. So I know that this team is the one that's going to go to Finland for the IFAF World Championships. They built a women's, men's, U15, U17, both boys and girls. I had the opportunity last summer. I know you were there as well to be a part of the IFAF and the Junior International Cup, and it was a clean sweep for the Americans. Of course, the women's championship, the men's championship, they were both pretty close with Mexico. And then I think the junior ones were all U.S. against Japan. I think
Yeah,
if
it
I
was.
remember right.
You're
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
was.
So I know since then there's been the European Championship. There was the Asian
Mhm.
Championship, and so now they're all coming together in the Finland World Championship. I think it's something like 60 teams, 60 countries are going to be represented there. So this is
I
a
don't.
huge opportunity. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say I don't know the exactly count of how many, but it's gonna be tough all around. Once they get the scheme of how people play and start to play against them year after year, they start to get a different concept, and it's gonna be some good games, pretty good games.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I know that the clock for a flag football player is a lot longer than a football player in the NFL or that's played in arena ball or other professional avenues. But this is 2024, and the Olympics aren't until 2028. So I did notice with the national team selections that there was a lot more youth selected this time around than in
Yeah.
previous years. So I know you kind of mentioned before the show you were dodging a little bit. You're saying you don't remember names, but in your opinion, were there people that were maybe ousted because of the future that they're looking towards the Olympics already, or what do you think happened?
I think so. It's a lot of guys. I mean, the age range. I feel like it goes up. Like I said, I don't know everyone and all their ages and things, but at the same time, I feel like they're preparing themselves. You know what I mean? That's the best thing to play chess and not checkers. So you got to prepare yourself for the next coming to know you're gonna have the same type of players. They know each other and things, but I think they could have had a lot to play with it. The fact that the age and the fact that the next Olympics are not to the 2028, so there could be a lot big factor in that.
Yes, sir. So something that I observed, it's not something that I am a United States citizen. It's something that I'm not proud to talk about, but I think it's important to talk about. Last year, I was overtaken by the difference of a lot more respect for the game and a lot more sportsmanship and camaraderie that came from the international teams compared to the United States. So it's something that I saw a lot of were a lot of unsportsmanlike calls against the United States, both in the men's and women's, and it kind of seeped into the youth games as well. There were coaches that were getting sideline warnings and almost thrown out of the game. Comparatively to some of the teams from Brazil and Argentina and Panama, Mexico, they just seem to have a lot more sportsmanship. Invested in them, and they just handled the game a little bit different. Joe, any did you notice that over the last few times when you've been involved in
I can't say that, and I think a lot of things got to deal with, we don't know their language. So in the same time,
this?
they can be
Okay,
saying that they can be saying the same things that United States players are saying.
I
But they
got you.
saying it, they saying it in a way that you're not gonna be able to be reciprocal of it because you don't know what they're saying. A
Yeah,
lot of times the way they communicate, you know, if you learn their language, then you know what play calls they call out. So, but in the same time, the things that we do understand is my bad, I'm sorry, and things in the nature. So they're more apologetic. They're not fussing at you directly. They're not going after you as much. And I do agree with that. Even it's going down to the youth. They have to sometimes the coaches got to remind them we're not going to have that. We're not going to don't talk to the refs. Don't even mention anything like that to the refs because you never know how they're going to perceive what you said. I seen in the NBA game the other day, one of the guys just got upset about a call. He didn't even do anything, and they called the tape. But you don't say nothing to me at all. My call is my
yeah,
call. Respect it, and if you don't, you say anything to me, or you look at me funny, or you whatever. All that right there is not tolerated. So in saying that, you got to sometimes prepare your players to let them know, don't talk to the ref, don't argue with the ref. That's their call, and you just keep moving on and play your game. And that's how it should be. Just play your game.
yeah. So and I know people like to say that there isn't that home field advantage. There's always going to be somewhat a home field advantage where you're playing at home. You got the fans, you got the excitement, adrenaline's running, all of those things. The IFAF Americas last year was in Charlotte. The World Games was in Birmingham, Alabama. So
Hmm.
recently, America has had that opportunity. I know as far as the officials that they pick, the host country does have a few more officials than the rest of the countries. So now what's going to happen is in August it's going to be in Finland, and I know America will have some officials that represent the United States and go with the team. But ultimately, I think that there is one thing that all officials all across the world probably understand, and that's disrespect towards them. There's certain curse words that it doesn't matter what language is spoken,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
understand what's being said, and so I do hope that the United States um, took to heart kind of some of the conversations that were had. I know after a U.S. Mexico pool play game last summer, the head of the United States committee he brought the men's team in and he had a huge speech with all of them and said, "This is not what we're doing. This is not how we are representing this country. This needs to
Exactly.
change. And if you don't like it, you won't be on this team moving forward." And I will say that I think that the men's team specifically, it looks a lot different than it did last year. And there were definitely a lot of names that weren't on even the selection of 18. So
Yeah.
I can only speculate. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but I know that there was a very very stern talking to from that representative of the Olympic and United States International Committee that he said this is not how we are going to represent ourselves. So hopefully that continues to just be talked about. I want the United States to represent itself very well, but do it with class, do it with sportsmanship. I know that recently we've had the opportunity to have officials come over from Mexico, from Canada, from the Cayman Islands. We have Dean come over, and I just want to continue to just implore the flag football players of this country to just treat them, with respect. Treat them as if you're bringing them into your home, as a host, because it's a huge opportunity for all of us. Because some of these officials that are coming from other countries, just like Jacob said last week, they will probably be the ones that represent their country in the Olympics, which means that
Exactly.
as a rec flag football player, you have the opportunity to be able to have an Olympic official officiate your game. And so, that should not be, that shouldn't be taken lightly. So
Exactly.
maybe, just because there's a language barrier, or maybe you think that they don't understand the rules, understand that these officials that come from other countries, they are sacrificing a lot to be able to have the opportunity, and they study that rule book. And I've definitely, something you mentioned before the show about the mechanics and how important the mechanics were this past weekend. Well, that is
Hmm.
something that is hammered into the international officials, and
Hmm.
they teach me so much, because ultimately there is that language barrier. But you know what? What everybody knows is this is a hold.
Oh.
This is PI. You know,
Exactly.
there,
Talk to me.
there are those that that's how we eliminate that language barrier, especially between officials. And man, I can tell you this. I don't know if you feel the same way, but being under that pressure at the IFF Continentals last year, I felt after those 5 days that my brain was complete mush. I just,
Yes.
I just,
Yes.
I just felt like I was concentrating so much. Every
Trust
time I
me.
threw a flag, I wanted to make sure it was the right call. You know what I mean? Did you have the same experience?
You have that pressure is on you. You know, you got cameras watching you and everything. You know, everything that you do is being recorded to be able to see, so you can learn from your mistakes as well. You know, so you can be able to get better. But when you in that spotlight, you know, we all gonna make mistakes. That's no one is perfect. But you know, when you study them, you gotta know your material, you gotta know your mechanics, and know what to do and where to be at all times. You know, when you get selected to be that official, then hey, it's time for you to use everything that you learn from the different reps, the different, you know, your different teammates and everything, and put up for your country. You know, and like I know the reps that came from Mexico, reps that came from Panama, everywhere around, they study their craft so they can be able to represent their country. They say, hey, these reps did a good job. You know, and
Yeah.
they know exactly what they're doing. And that's the end of the day, what you got to know. And it's like I had a couple guys that talked to me that was from Mexico, and just having a conversation with them and be able to talk with them to help them out, and they can help me out. It's all about helping each other. It's not about one putting one down. It's more about helping each other out so we can all be better, to be a better officials and better players, as you would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, with any of these international tournaments that happen, IFAF, World Games, any of these big events that happen, there is a very strict handbook on how this officials' mechanics need to look. And so I know I did not come from tackle. I don't have that experience, and so really my experience on mechanics was just what I was able to read out of that rule book. But I know that there were officials that were working with me that had a lot of tackle experience, and maybe they were explaining things differently. That then when I got my video
Hmm.
back, explaining to me, yeah, actually this mechanic was wrong, and I think to myself, okay, yeah, it said this way in the handbook, but we're all coming with different experiences, different training, all this stuff, where with internationally they want everybody on the same page, because ultimately when it comes down to it, that gold medal game is not going to just be one country, and it's
Yeah,
probably going
exactly.
to be multiple languages represented. And that's amazing. It's inclusive, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to have the whole world represented like that. I mean, we are on the cusp of seeing history when it comes into the Olympics. And so, yeah, as officials, I hope that we continue to work together. I hope that more officials from other countries come and be a part of USA flag tournaments. And so, that we can continue to, build those relationships and work together. And it's exciting stuff, man. Anything else you want to add about the trial?
Man, other than that, man, it was like I said, it's a great weekend. If you haven't got a chance to do it, I feel like every official need to get a chance to this to see what it's about. to see how the referee a non-contact game, and
Yeah.
and to be able to you get the exposure and you get to meet different reps and things. I feel like everyone should get a chance to be able to get their feet wet a little bit. But other than that, good experience, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I would definitely say that I can respect the IFAF rule book just as much as I respect the fives contact rule book because I
Hmm.
think in both situations it's very black and white. Whereas with some of the other formats, as far as non-contact goes, and seven screen and things like that, there's a lot of gray areas that get created,
Yeah.
and and we see what the letter of the law says. But sometimes, as Lance brought up about kind of letting guys play a little bit and things like that. So there's gray areas there. But with
Yeah.
IFAF, it's very black and white. If
No,
you see
no.
contact, bring your flag out.
Yeah,
And that's-
it's not even know the speed. It's like, and everyone know the players know it when they
yeah,
see it, and
yep,
and even the fans know it when they
yeah,
see it. And they make a sound and everything. It's a flag. Yeah,
yeah,
it's no kind. Yeah, it's nothing you can do about it. But it's like, hey, just learning the game and thing, learning how to play that, and it's so different. It's really for the offense and defense.
yeah.
You just got to be in the best position possible. If you're not, you're gonna get a flag.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that it's just so much finesse to it, and really, ultimately, it takes away a lot of the yak that you see, happen in normal flag football, where with jumping and spinning and kind of putting a little bit of body into the defender and things like that. Literally, as a receiver, you catch that ball, and if there's a defender close to you, you're better off just stepping out of bounds so that you don't get an illegal contact. Like,
That's true.
so
I never looked at it as that, but you're absolutely right. Just step out of bounds. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because you don't want that penalty, illegal contact. I think it is 10 yards. I think
It's 10 yards.
10 yards. Yep, I remember right. Yep. So that's a big deal. You get a first down, and then you want to get a few extra yards, and you just bump into that defender 10 yards back, bring him
I
back.
know.
So
Yeah, it's only 50 yards, so two of those there, and that's a ball game. And you get four down.
exactly. Exactly. So, all right. So let's kind of move into the topics. I appreciate you sharing your experiences,
Oh,
Joe.
no problem. No problem.
Yeah, man. I think that international play is just exciting, and I hope that more. I hope that the opportunities happen more, and that as an official, I know USA Flag has the Olympic division, and I love being able to officiate that in Vegas. It was a lot of fun, and I think the teams just bought into it. They understood
Yeah.
it was non-contact, and they just played it true to that. And I just want us to continue to do that. I think it helps everybody involved get ready for the Olympics, whether we're going to be a part of it or not. I think we're all building each other up for it. So I think
Hey,
it's exciting stuff.
that part.
There you go. So, all right, let's bring it into the topics. I just want to review real quick the five play cooldown. Joe, have you had a recent experience where you've used this five play cooldown to your, in your toolbox?
I have not used it. Me personally, I have not used the 5 play cooldown. It has not taken effect to play whenever I've been referenced. It been times where the player we give the person a foul or legal contact or things like that, but it hasn't been to the point where I had to use the cooldown. I'm glad
Gotcha.
because of that. I know guys get a little bit happy and they get excited over plays and things of that nature, but I'm glad I have not had to use it because I want players to be able to play. I want them to be able to perform and things of that nature. But sometimes you have to, and I'm glad we have that enforced now because sometimes you just get too excited and you need to take them 5 plays, and the 5 plays happen like that. It's just the fact that you need to take a time away from the game to realize that we are playing flag football and we're
Yeah.
not trying, and no one's trying to get hurt and things like that. We're trying to have a good game, clean game. And that's the main thing to keep the game clean. And that's the main purpose of that 5 play cool off because we can't get hot headed and you can't get caught up in the game because most of these players are ex NFL players or ex football players. And it's not football. It is football, but it's not contact where you get the pass on football. And when you get in the stripes, they get in the mainframe and coming downhill and things in that nature. Like, hey, but you gotta understand that hey, we don't have pads on. We're playing flag football, and you should have been going for the flag. Simple.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure, and I think that I continue to hear Jacob talk about it before every tournament. Hey, this is something in your tool belt. It's a good thing to use. Jacob always talks about how much he loves it. He thinks it's a great tool to use, and I continue to hear that. And I just didn't see for a while opportunities where it made sense. Sometimes I feel like uh, you know uh, uh, unnecessary roughness or personal foul or unsportsmanlike just seem more appropriate. I did have a situation come up in Santa Clarita. It was the women's fives contact. It was the championship, and it was early on in the game. And a receiver caught the pass. She had those couple steps to slow herself down, and she just ran a girl out of bounds. And and,
Mm,
and that
mm.
was a situation because, of course, that defender then popped up and there was a lot of back and forth. And I said to the receiver, I said, okay, you're taking the next 5 plays off. She was a little upset about the situation because she felt like the defender did respond after that. I said, but you initiated it.
Yeah,
Take
you
5 plays
initiated.
off. She cooled herself down, and I honestly felt like it worked out for the best. Now I had another situation that same tournament. It was sixes contact. It was with the men's, and we were in the championship. And going into halftime, we had a situation where the quarterback. This team was down. Quarterback threw, one of the first plays of the drive, threw a pick six, and as the DB was about to get into the end zone, from my angle, I thought he did make somewhat of an attempt at a flag, but he definitely cleared through the guy.
Mm.
I For that, I threw a personal foul. They got their touchdown. They got half the yardage on the PAT, and then basically it was halftime. After that, I felt like maybe things were going to cool down. 2 plays into the game or into the second half, there was like another cheap hit or something like that. I gave that player 5 plays off.
Okay.
Then the next play is a pick six. That same quarterback throws a pick six, and naturally the linemen, they know what to do. They're going to clear these guys out, and they're going to clear this quarterback out who had just made a hit on one of their teammates,
Yeah, I got
and they
you.
and they pushed him deep into the end zone, and then he threw a punch. Bench is cleared, game over, double forfeit in the championship, and that was that.
Wow.
I know. New Dynasty, they like to put an asterisk next to that one because they were up by like 2 touchdowns by that point. But it was a double forfeit. Unfortunately, that's how that championship ended. Looking back at it, I do feel like maybe in that situation, if I had had a better angle to see because I saw the slow motion afterwards. It was definitely a forearm to the dude's
Mm.
shoulder, not an attempt on the flag. And so if I had seen it from a better angle, maybe that quarterback either would have been tossed or the 5 plays, and maybe that
Yeah.
would have prevented the next things that happened. It's one of those domino effects, something for us to learn about, learn from and move forward. So I do think it's an effective tool when used. But I know Jacob always talks about how one or two things is going to happen. Either the player is going to cool down, his team's going to cool him down, and that 5 plays is going to help, or that player is then just going to lose it and he's going to get tossed from the game.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true.
yeah. So I think it's a good way to kind of try to get the game back on track in that. So,
Now,
Joe,
I can
yep,
say I don't I only can say this because I don't live through experience like this. When I first started playing flag, a time before where we was beating a team that was known as being some of the best team out there. I ain't gonna throw no names out there on past that, but they was looked at as being the number one team, and they was losing against a team that we was like in C division. but we had a stacked team, and we had them beat by like maybe 10 points in under two, and we had just got a pick, and the quarterback told his players to start a fight with us to forfeit to end the game. So we didn't technically win the game.
Uh-huh.
And so I when you mention, I'm like, whoa, that kind of hit hard because I can see teams like, hey, we didn't lose. We technically didn't lose as we was being the number one team or looked as being the best. We technically didn't go down as no loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's certain things that's going to get people to the point where they feel like they have to tolerate. It ain't they forget a penalty, whatever. You put your hands around my neck, you hit me. It's certain things as a man you're not going to be able to. It's nothing. Forget a tournament. Forget this. No one's not going to respect the fact that you put your hands on me and think a penalty is going to save you. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to put my hands back on you. And I think when it got to that point where you knew someone was going to retaliate if you put your hands on them in a manner. So, in saying that, I think some teams can't take the fact of losing in certain teams and getting beat, and they say forget it, and jump to that conclusion. But yeah, whenever you said that, it hit it, kind of because like when I first jumped in the flag, that's exactly what happened,
Yeah,
and I
for
was like,
sure.
wow,
Well, and I think there's a trend that's happening now. The bigger the flag football, the bigger these events get. I am noticing more and more that the parks that are providing, the space for these tournaments to happen, they are bringing in security. They are making sure that local law enforcement is aware of it. And my understanding in San Antonio, if those sheriffs were very much present, and so that's why fights didn't happen, is
yeah,
because uh, even if there was a little pushing going on, then those sheriffs were over by that field and they weren't leaving, and they were keeping
yeah,
their eye on that game the rest of the time, and they were keeping their eye on those players the rest of the weekend, and so. I think that's a good thing. I think ultimately we need to be very protective of the players, the fans, the spectators, the youth that are continuing to, uh, grow in this sport and see the role models of this sport. I think making it a safe place for everybody is very important. So I think that the bigger these events get, having that extra layer of security, because ultimately Jacob and Chun can only do so much,
exactly,
and
yeah,
and they shouldn't have to step in
and
front of two guys that are trying to fight. There are
two
security
guys,
guards that,
then there's a team
yeah.
coming in.
Yeah.
Everybody, when you try to break up a fight, I'm not so big. Like someone else is gonna get hit, and it's not even the
Yeah.
person that's
Yep.
supposed to get hit, and that's not fair to nobody. We here
Yeah,
to do,
exactly.
run a tournament, and actually, we getting hit by someone. No,
Yeah, yeah, and I love and I'm so low on the totem pole, man. So I can't talk about logistics. I'm sure sometimes I think of some crazy ideas that logistically don't make any sense at all. But in Tampa, I like the concept of having the championship games in a wrapped field, where literally the only people that can be on that field and on the sideline is the players and the officials, and that's it.
yes, yeah.
Now, if
Everybody
if
else is
it,
in
if
that box.
everybody else is in that box, I understand ultimately if somebody wants to fight, they're going to fight, and then if someone wants to run from and jump over the barrier, they're going to go ahead and do that. But I just feel like it gives a little bit of a bubble, a little bit of space where then it really comes down to just the players and the officials, and the game just gets played. So again, I don't know the logistics of it, but maybe at other tournaments, if there could be a championship field that would just be separated by that, it only gets used for the championship. The grass or turf gets protected a little bit more, and it makes the championship feel a little bit cooler
Yeah,
in that, a little
yeah.
bit more energy. So, but and maybe provides a little bit more safety. I do
I
know
feel
that
like
there are teams. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like they could even put the time in a scoreboard up there too, so we ain't got the refs don't have to worry about the end game. Let the championship game. Let the ref focus on the champ, like so they can see the time. They can see how the time is. And they can see the score. We're focusing on the game alone. Ain't nobody really
Yeah,
asking you what time it is, how much time it is right here, what the score is. Your focus is on this game. In the championship games, Let the refs focus just on the game and take that out of the air so you won't be. Because sometimes you can ask the ref what the time is. You ask the ref what the time is. The play just somebody said snap.
Yeah.
I didn't see the
Yep.
false start. Ref, you said false start. No, I just said the time.
Yeah.
So in saying that,
Yep.
that takes away a lot of element from the game to get them the best possible game possible.
I mean, the reality of it is, if we're in a stop clock situation, we got the stop clock right here, so we got to press start or stop. We're counting out our play clock. We got, we always got somebody in our ear, right, asking us what down it is, what score it is, all this stuff. I will say probably where false starts get missed the most is in those critical situations because there's so much that we're keeping track of, and I know I brought it up before that us as officials cannot be compared to NFL officials. That is, Joe, that's a perfect example because not they have a 9-person crew. There's a big scoreboard. They are not keeping track of as much as we are when we have a 2-person crew.
Yeah, you don't
So I,
understand. Just like I said, it makes the game a whole lot easier. And I know that they can't do it for every game, but the championship game, let us give them the best game possible, so you can help us. That we help you as you help us as well. And it
yeah,
clears
yep.
up a lot of it clears up a lot of gray areas like we were talking about. There's no gray areas when it comes down to that. No one see, and it's already just players and coaches on the field, and they're not gonna say nothing to us because the only thing they're gonna see is they're gonna see the play block, the play clock, the game clock, the timeouts, and the score on the board. And it's nothing you can say to officials and let us do our job.
Yeah, I mean, again, not speaking on logistics. Maybe this is crazy for me to even suggest, but if it's you and me, Joe, for a championship game, and we have the opportunity to have a third, but that third could be kind of in a booth, away from the
Yeah.
field, and they're keeping track of downs, of the clock, they're keeping track of the score. I think you and me could
We can run it.
handle
We can
we can
run it
handle
with no
everything else.
problem. We can
And
run
like
it with no problem being what we need to be, all mechanics and everything. It's nothing you're gonna say to me now. It's nothing you can
yeah,
say to me.
yeah,
Like nothing that you're gonna say to me about anything because everything is given to you already. And since it's given, only thing we're doing is doing our job and making
yeah,
sure we're
yeah.
giving
We're
them
just
the best reference possibility that we can happen, without being distracted from the game. So
we're
that's
watching the game, and then also what happens in other situations if there's an unsportsmanlike, they're able to track it, which player it is. If there's a 5 play cooldown, they're able to track it. Now I'm sure that Jacob and Lance are going to be so upset that you and me are talking about this, but hey, they're
hey,
not on the show this week, so I guess we got to have the conversation, right?
just little thoughts in the air out there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So no, it's cool to think about. I'm sure that there's things that we're doing as officials that 10 years ago, they were cooking up in their head, so it's as we talked about earlier, the evolution of the game and how things are going, and it's exciting. So who knows? Maybe that'll come down the pipeline eventually as well. So I just want to keep it moving. Joe, you and me never played against each other. I don't know why our paths never crossed. But from my understanding, you were a rusher, right? You played on the D line.
Yeah,
Okay.
defensive lineman in the trenches.
Okay. So, did you just play contact, or did you play non-contact as well?
I played them all. I think contact was my biggest thing. But I did play. We won a couple championships in non-contact in the B division and national non-contact. I won 4 man before 4 man B. But I never won a 4 man or 5 non-contact A. But I did 1 B championship. So but it's different. It's totally different. It's a lot of running. A lot of
Yeah.
running out. And me personally, the only thing I did was rush. I focused on my skill level, just rushing. That's all I did in either format. But it's a lot of more rushing when you're doing non-contact. You're running from that 7 yards, and you got a quarterback who lined up 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
That's 17 yards plus his drop back once he get the ball. Oh
Yeah.
man, oh man, yeah, That's a lot of money. And don't let them have a double quarterback. And you happen to get ping pong.
Yeah, oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. I'm
No,
kind of mad
and
for that game. So
yeah, and I did both as well, non-contact and contact. But I was a rusher. D line was the place I loved to be. That was my focus. Ever so often, I would get pulled, especially in eights. I would get pulled onto the O line just because I could be, kind of a presence on the O line. Yeah, I can't. I can't necessarily say I knew how to do the what is that kick step or anything
kick
like that.
step.
I was, and if I needed to, I could play center. I knew how to snap the ball, but I do feel like there's always somebody that's a better center, and so I wanted to I wanted to
I
stick
just
to the
play.
D line.
I just played my role. That was it.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to talk about the rush. I think it's perfect. You and me are the ones talking about this. We can talk about both as a player, as an official. So speaking of non-contact, the most important call, I think this gets brought up at the start of every tournament that we go to, is the call that everyone's going to be looking for, the call that everyone's complaining about, probably because 90% of the players don't even understand what this rule is. It's
Impeding the
impeding the
rush.
rush,
Mm-hmm.
and more times than not, the first thing when you throw that flag, immediately a player. What is the player's first response when you bring up impeding the rush?
I didn't touch him.
He didn't touch him,
I didn't
and
touch
so
him.
and it's so easy. I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what the first thing the receiver or the center is going to say is I didn't touch him. So before we get too deep into this, I think we got another guest. Let me see who it is. Oh, it's petty time. Here we go. What
Oh,
up,
Petty,
Pat?
yeah.
What
What
up?
man? Hey,
Hey,
I ain't
man.
got my headphones, so it might be echoing.
Oh
Hey,
man, come on! You always bring. Now you got a fan in the backyard background.
Hey, hey, you know I'm a noise maker.
Yes, sir. Hey
My
man,
God.
so we just got into it. We talking about the rush, impeding the rush. So Pat, just to bring you into this, what do you look for in impeding the rush? How do you differentiate between is it causing a rush to hesitate? Did they move on their own? What are your mechanics to get
Well,
Or
catching that?
was or was it
I look
contact?
for as far as anything that alters the rusher, um, as far as either speed going in or moving going left or right. I don't care if they make contact or not. If I see that rusher, um, if I watch tendencies, so if this rusher is a blazer taking off every time from 7 yards, I'm gonna watch the tendencies of how they speed change. But I mean, you can have some rushers that will walk and then rush to run to the line, and it's kind of difficult on that end. But I just pay attention to the direction and the speed that rusher is going every time, and if they're paying attention to, or if they're walking and waiting until everything open up, you know, every rusher is different.
Different.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Joe, anything you want to add to that?
I was about to say this piggyback on Pat. Like most of the rushers, like either you got a rusher that's gonna gun blaze straight to the quarterback, or some of them like they say like to wait till the play open up because now when it opens up, I gotta. They feel like they don't want. I feel like them the ones that don't want no smoke. They don't even want to contact with nobody, get a penalty in them because they, if you have the right of way, they have touching. But why do you wait to open up? If they in your way, you hit them, and or you say you go a different route. That's a flag every time. So, but
Yeah,
then when I see people walk and then wait to open up, yeah, you got a clear path, and then you can see more things. But most times you can get that call whenever you. I feel like that's the advantage of the offense. Then, if you
yeah,
walking and wait till it open up, because now you allow me to do my route 3 to 4 yards
yeah,
within, 5 yard within, and it's no problem. But if you go straight like I used to go, somebody's gonna run into me or I have to alter my path because I'm coming straight toward you. You know,
yeah,
it's simple
yeah.
as that.
So Joe, for you, you would go straight up the middle, or you were going, you came from an angle. What was your
If
strategy?
it's most time, I depend on which like quarterback is a right handed or left handed. I try to pay attention to that one at first. If I see them right hand or left hand, I come from a different angle off that bunch. I try to see that weak side. The side that he doesn't like to go to that much. Things of the nature. And my DBs help me out with that. So when I play, they will let me know he don't have to go this way. Come this way, come this way. And I have players that help me out with that with like, hey, or they know the quarterback. Come from this angle and you're gonna get him. He's not gonna throw to this side and stuff like that. So that's my determination. But I come up the middle. If they're not touching, all I like to make if I don't see them touching, I make it an issue to come up the middle because I feel
Yeah.
like I'm gonna get there before they route break, and I'm gonna have to alter my route. I'm gonna go through it. It's gonna be a penalty,
There
and they're
you
gonna
go.
have to fix it. And then next play, they what end up touching each other because they know I'm coming. Now I gotta come to now I gotta go to the side. So if I don't see you touching, I'm gonna get a penalty. I'm gonna get the flag by going straight up the middle and hit somebody. Even if I fall or whatever, but I'm coming.
Yeah. So Pat, just how do you differentiate between when it's an impeding and when that rusher is trying to initiate that contact and it should actually be an illegal contact on the rusher? How do you differentiate the difference?
I watch for the dip in the shoulder. If you
Okay.
if you waiting on impact and you slow down, I know you waiting for that receiver. As far as if you slow down and you've been rushing hard the whole time, I know you waiting for that receiver so you can try and get a impeding the rusher. But if now you're
Yeah.
rushing full speed and I see you leave your path and you dip your shoulder, that means you're trying to cause
Oh,
the
the flag.
contact. Because if you
Yeah.
keep running normal, you won't cause no impeding rusher or illegal contact. But if I see you
Yeah.
t- brace up for the impact, I already know.
Yeah, I think it's a dip of the shoulder or that unnecessary
That
chicken
chicken
wing.
wing. Yep.
Chicken wing.
So all right, cool. Well, we talked a little non-contact, but let's have some fun now. Let's bring it into contact. Now, I know for myself, I wanted the challenge. I was in the gym all the time when I was playing contact. I wanted to hit somebody, and so I would look for the biggest dude on the O line, and I wanted to line up against him, and I wanted to just push him right into the quarterback and just easily just take a little whip at the triple threats and know that they would just come off. So, Joe, what was your strategy as a contact rusher?
Oh man, the contact rush, the speed. I use my speed as them. Where I'm a little bit stronger and I stand on my own 10 as a rusher, but I'm not able to probably push you back to the quarterback. So my biggest thing was to try to either I'm gonna take you out of the play where you're not gonna I got you, you got me, or I'm gonna try to use my speed and try to make you cross your feet a little bit, one of those type of things. But I wasn't finna sit there and try to fight with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you and me would have been good on the line together because I could open up a gap for you to shoot through. And that is
But
probably what would have
whenever
happened.
I rush with some of the biggest guys. Jordan, I rushed with Rodney, where it was like they was the big guy. I might come right underneath them. They'll take
Yeah,
out two
yeah,
people sometime, and I'm like, whoop, boom, and I go right, and I'm so quick where the quarterback looking at it, nope, and I come underneath, and by the time then he's loose. He don't throw him off
yeah,
him, or they don't throw him off him, so it's like it's a perfect mix. Blend whenever you got a fast rusher and you got a strong rusher. So it's like, hey, the strong guy go clean it up, and I love it. Until they
yeah,
be like they put two big guys in the backfield. They're like, man, really? But when they do that and they got a center, that's four people right there. So they got one
yeah,
receiver now. Now I feel like I'm been an impact player because now they got to put somebody down there to slow that down. That's taken away
yeah,
from their receiving core. So now we
yeah.
have somebody come down in the box sometime.
There you go. Hey, so Pat, what are you looking for if you're the official on the line of scrimmage, five contact, six contact? What are you looking for as far as what is acceptable, not acceptable for a rusher going in contact?
I would say my biggest thing is making sure, first off, letting the center get his head up, him or her get her head
Yeah,
up. That's first. Second is watching all the hands to the face. Um, some rushers I noticed they like to grab the offensive player, grab and pull. it's a good new technique that's been I've been seeing used. But that'd be the biggest things as far as my two when it come down to what I'm watching on that line, as far as making sure. I mean, that ain't my responsibility unless I'm on the line. Making sure they're not leaning over the ball. But yeah, those are two biggest. Making sure that center gets his head up, and making sure as far as the hands to the face. That's the biggest thing
Yeah.
in the trenches. Because Joe will tell you, I mean, short rushers can catch a hand to the face and now they pissed off. And now they want to jump and hit somebody in the face and get past them. So that's that. It just that's the big three because it's gonna
Yeah.
be a
Yeah.
reaction to every action.
Yeah.
Facts.
Thanks.
Facts.
Joey, anything you want to add to that?
This like same thing. Piggyback on Pat again. Man, the hand to the face is big. Far as on the line a lot of times just the hands to the face and the fall starts and over there. And the biggest thing like they don't realize, but and what's that thing? Not encroachment, but when they put their head in the neutral zone, they
Yeah.
lean up and their head go in the neutral zone. It's like, man, I was behind the ball. You was behind the ball, but when you lean forward, you're past the ball. So that's the flag. But that's the biggest thing. But the other than that, everything is fine.
Got you. So just Joe, just cover roughing the passer for me. What if you're the white hat behind the quarterback? What are you looking for to decide if it's a good rush and he was making an attempt at the flag, or if it crossed the line and became roughing the passer?
I like when you said attempt to the flag because a lot of times they hit that quarterback's arm and they say you wasn't going for the flag. So you should be going for the flag. So there's no reason for you to be hitting their arm. Now, if you're gonna jump to try to bat the ball, your hand need to be going straight up in the air to bat the ball. But when you're coming down across their arm and they hit their arm, it's no way. So that roughing the pass a lot of time when their arm get hit, or when they lower their shoulder into them to try to pull the flag. Now, I was good about when I rushed was when I'm shorter, so when I came through, my whole body and torso was coming through your shoulders anyway, because that's where I am. So a lot of
Yeah.
time that was a clean play. But when you got these bigger rushers and they're bigger and they come in with their shoulders are hitting them in the neck area. That's roughing the passer. And they arms are by their, but their arms are still by their waist. They were like, I went for the rush. I mean, I went for the flag, ref. I get that, but your shoulders is coming in, boom. So that's roughing the passer. You know,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
said, I was good with it because I was short. And when I short and I go down, I'm already down. My shoulders are not hitting you in the shoulder area. I'm hitting you in your waist area, and that's why the quarterbacks didn't like me. But I didn't hit you up high. I can't never hit you up high unless I leave my feet. So make it make sense to me when I rush the quarterbacks, they ain't standing, but I can never hit you up high if I'm coming down low at your waist every time with my shoulders.
Yeah. For sure. Pat, anything you want to add on that about roughing the passer?
Say again. Say that one more time.
Anything? Yeah. Anything you want to add about roughing the passer?
Uh, roughing the passer. Ooh, that's a rough one. Cause being a guy that's been in the trenches as far as a safety coming down the line and rushing into the quarterback, I was the guy that Joe was talking about. Uh, I'm gonna put that shoulder into your sternum,
Yeah.
but I'm also gonna grab that flag, especially if it's pops. Now, if it comes down to a heavier quarterback, and them heavy quarterbacks that like to put the triple threats on their belly button, those
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
guys that you have to let the referee know in advance. Hey, this QB got his flag on his triple threat on his belt buckle. I mean, on this
Punch
helmet.
his ass.
So,
Punch him.
hey, so if I catch him with a
Punch
little
him.
body,
I
hey,
punch him.
that's the only way I can really pull this flag because you're
Yeah.
gonna hit me. But when it comes down to roughing the passer, like Joe said, that's the biggest thing I watch for the quarterback leaning back. Because sometimes they try and flop and get a flag pull as far as a roughing the passer. They're on their back foot, falling back, trying to avoid any contact. And I see that all the time. And they be
Yeah.
like, "Well, why I ain't get no flag? I'm looking at you, lean. falling back as you throw the ball. I mean, no. I
Yeah,
mean,
hey, shout out to Ant from New Dynasty that literally will jump in the air, going out of bounds, and still look up for a roughing the
yeah,
passer. you
yeah,
know.
jumping, leaning back, and I'm looking at you like, are you lost your mind? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I've even seen a quarterback dip and sit in the pocket, dip,
yeah.
and then the rusher go for the flag, and he dip down, cram. Yeah, that's that. Now you in Joe vicinity. Like, I mean, is it a roughing the passer?
Right. Boom.
I mean, dipping ain't giving up your body, but I mean, you just lowered your whole torso,
Yeah.
and that rusher was going for the flag. So it's like
Welcome to
it's
my
tough,
level.
man.
Yeah, yeah, especially in my later years. Once my motor started going, I was going, and so if that quarterback decided to dip or something like that, yeah, that's their mistake on that one. So yeah, it's I have so much fun when I get the opportunity, especially in contact, to be on the line of scrimmage, especially when guys are just there to play and they're having fun and they're not trying to call each other out of their name and take things personal and cheap shot each other. When it just comes down to it, and the trenches are just they're just going at each other. It's good competition. So I think that contact can live in that world where there's not a lot of flags, there's not a lot of whining, and it's just good contact flag football. And I think that it definitely the game overall benefits when the trenches are good like that. So,
Yeah.
any other thoughts, Pat, on as far as Russian or anything?
I would say one thing when it comes to a lot of these rushers, they don't have the right mechanics either. I mean, they talk about referees not having the mechanics. I mean, they don't know how to use the stab. They don't know how to use the rip. I mean, they don't know how to fight with their hands. All they think they can do is run and grab. I mean,
Yeah,
that's that's the three techniques
Yeah,
of rushing. You
you
can't
know how
just
to get
bull
up
rush
out of there.
nobody. You gotta know how to stab as far as keep that blocking back, with one hand so you can turn the outside. You have to also know. I mean, spin moves. You ain't the White Freeney. You ain't, this flag football. I mean, but
yeah,
but yeah,
Yeah,
man,
it's
it's just a lot of
spinning.
them. They give up their back. They'll spin and get caught with their back on that blocking back and ask them, "Hey, it's blocking in the back." No, you spent that direction, and he gave you an extra push because you
yeah,
spent. I mean, now if you ran by him and he gave you an extra push, that's a blocking in the back, But when you
yeah,
spin and he has his hand or she has her hand on you and they give you that extra toss, hey, the hand never detached from you. Bye bye.
yeah,
So it's just the rushers have to learn the techniques and go back to it.
That's
yeah.
facts.
Yeah, I just remember every time I came home from a long weekend of playing football or whatever, all here would be all bruised
Oh
up. I
yeah,
would have,
yeah.
marks and all of that, and that just made me want to get better because clearly,
Yeah,
clearly those O line were able to get a hold of me and keep me at
yeah,
bay. So I wanted to get
yeah,
faster and stronger.
yeah. Yeah, Pat was good for
But
doing that with me. Yeah,
yeah.
Pat. I don't know. Pat had my number when it came to rushing against Pat, so he just knew exactly what to do when it came to me. So I had to switch up. Y'all got Pat on this side. I'm going that side. Like, and Pat, he knew how to get me right underneath, and I'm trying to swaddle out of his ass. And so
Because uh, and I used to
me and
tell
Pat.
Joe once he retired, I said, Joe, the reason why I was able to get you, you always been on the pump fake. You was reaching when I got ready. You thought my hands were gonna come out, and you can hit my hands down. I reach like I'm about to hit you, and you give me your move, and you give me that chicken wing. Now I'm about to give you a good
Nah,
hey, let's go. Leverage
yeah,
next time.
he had both my arms and stuff, man. I'm like, man, go ahead, Pat, get off me.
Oh man! All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat. Me and Joe talked about it earlier, but did you happen to see the selection for the teams of the national team, both men's and women's today? Did you check
I
it
mean,
out at
I,
all?
I mean, I did see all those gang members. I mean, God, dog. I mean, hey, one thing I can say though, they dropped the gangs. I mean, they threw up the gang signs, but they got rid of the beef because they playing amongst each other.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's the first
That's
time
true.
you ever seen nothing but gangsters playing on the same team. I don't know how they're gonna do when they get back to their city. But
Yeah.
when somebody in that picture throwing up another rival gang sign and then the picture with them, I don't know how that's gonna play out. But I mean, it is what it is, man. But yeah, I saw it, man. It's actually a nice team if you take away, like I said, the pose and um, the signals that they threw up in the
Yeah,
photo.
for sure.
I mean, that was a good point takeaway from the whole picture. But got some dogs out there, honestly, and it's good to
Yeah.
see um, some of the old ones that's still on the team, and it's great to see some of the new ones that's gonna probably make some impacts too. That should have been on the first one, but it's all about I ain't gonna say politics at that time, but
But
and I'm
politics.
gonna
Sounds
call
like
a spade a
sounds like
spade.
you just said politics.
I mean, politics is politics at the beginning. I mean, but I mean, they held it down no matter if it was politics or not at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now we got to see. Hopefully, it's don't be like after the dream team, and then we get to the failed team, and then now we got to bring back the dream team, redeem team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I think it's a pretty nice squad. I see these guys all the time. Just hopefully they don't bring all these rules and all that crap back over when they come back to USA flag for worlds or nationals, thinking nobody can't breathe on them or touch them because
Mm.
hey, this ain't what that is IFAF or
Yeah,
IFFAF.
iPad.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
this ain't IFAF. I mean, hey, this the big boys USA flag.
Hey
So
man, I mean, I know that the national team isn't completely comprised about from guys from YTG, but there are a few players on there, and I got to bring it up again, man. All the times that in my head, I looked at YTG as a team that was very physical, and they brought a lot of intensity. And I always thought to myself, how would they do in contact? Would they be able to? Would they be able to handle their own? Would they be able to compete? And man, they're going on two big tournaments now where they won fives contact, and so I don't know, man. I just feel like
eh,
things are shifting a little bit.
hey,
They on the YTG
oh,
tour.
like I say, I mean, as an official, I can't really speak on too much because to be kind of like they would love to they love to use that. Oh, he's from the East Coast, so he played with this team. No, so I
Yeah,
don't even want to speak on it. But like I told y'all last time, it's strategy ball, and their strategy is very tough right now. Not too
yeah,
many people can match up with their offense. I mean, their defense ain't that great. I mean, straight up, defense is not that great. If my sorry team can put up 18 points to get them, um, and I mean, their offense is what need to be stopped. All it takes is one pick six or two turnovers to go down, and then that's when we'll find out what they really can do. Like, I mean, I want to see what they can do if they go down and no homo against Bex, because once you go down against Chad, it's hell to come away from that. I've never seen a team go down, touchdown, and Chad get the ball at halftime and you win. No,
Yeah,
not even at
that's
not
true.
even at Worlds this year that happened. Free Smoke got the ball at halftime.
yeah.
That's how they kept it going.
Yeah.
So,
So,
but really, the only opportunity for that to happen will be in Tampa. Is that right? Or
Yeah, I mean, I doubt Chad coming to Nashville. I don't think so.
yeah,
I mean, we'll find out and see when we see him at the draft tournament. I'll ask him in person.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Well,
but
yeah,
yeah,
it'll be fun. I'm gonna be a little rusty since East Coast Nationals was my last tournament, and I got a lot going on right now in my life, so I haven't been able to do a lot of officiating. But I'm excited for Nashville. That'll be a lot of fun. 3 day tournament, and I guess I get to see. I get to see Petty Pat one more time, lace him up,
Mm.
and
well,
play.
I don't think you. Well, I didn't make a case, but hey,
Huh?
so I talked to the missus, and
uh,
yeah, that's not gonna happen. So,
oh, yeah.
hey, but I mean, no, it was more of a professional transition move. get my
I
ego
got
out of it. It's
you. Yeah,
take my ego out of it. I mean, that'd be a donation to that organization as far as to a young man that may need to play on that team. But yeah, the cleats are hung up permanently, and I'm not gonna make a Facebook post about it. I'm not gonna tell anybody about it. I told Jacob already. But yeah,
yeah.
the cleats are done for real. Like
Uh,
no joking around. Done.
nah, I feel you.
I respect
Okay, cool.
that.
Yeah, hey, I mean, everybody's time comes, as they say. Father time is undefeated. So
No, no,
I
this
know.
hey, this wife time. This ain't father time. Hey, father time ain't getting me.
See, hey, Joe, see how quick I was able to get that ego back
Hey, the ego always gonna be there, but the ego know when to take a knee.
up Oh man! All right, Joe, you have any final thoughts to add about anything flag football life? Anything you got going on?
No, we got the draft tournament going on the 29th, and we have that other tournament. Pat, you still doing that tournament? What you gonna do
Yeah,
with
the
that?
body armor tournament.
Yeah.
I hit you up with all the details if that's where
Okay.
it goes.
Okay. Because I know I'll be doing the kids that morning with the body armor with the kids that going down here. But after I get done with them, I'm all towards whatever you got, everything gonna help out with your area.
Yeah, hey, I might have to slide through that area if ain't enough teams. You know what I'm saying? With the kids.
Hey, need to say no more. Need to say no more. I'm gonna let my guy know now,
Yeah,
and you'll be a part of that. Don't even worry about that.
yeah.
There you go. Pat, anything you wanna speak on?
We got as far as I got the 8 women's playoffs this Sunday. We'll see who wins that as far as the 8 women's contact. There's some good games this past weekend. Um, and then what Joe said, we have the body armor tournament. I think it's on the 22nd and 23rd. And then we
Mm-hmm.
have the draft tournament. And then
29th.
yeah, it's gonna get time for Nashville.
Yeah,
Time to get
There
Nashville
you
shaky.
go.
after that.
Yeah,
There
so
we go. Yeah, and Pat, I know you brought it up. I could speak on it as well. I've lived a life. I did a lot of dumb stuff as a teenager, as a young man in my 20s, and I experienced a lot of stuff that I don't wish on anybody. As far as the men's national team and that picture, I just, I don't know if any of them listen to the podcast, but if they do, I'm just asking you guys to remember you all are role models. Let's not continue. I know my generation growing up, I had the role models of Tupac and Biggie and a lot of movies around that kind of culture and that lifestyle. So growing up, I saw a lot of bad examples of what life could look like and glorifying a gang culture, and it made me think that lifestyle was something I wanted to portray and I wanted to be a part of, and it caused me a lot of issues in my life and continues to cause me issues in my life. And so I hope that people that are representing this country, flag football players that are professionals or wanting to be professionals, that they just take those signs down. If you wanna have the peace, go ahead and have the peace. You know what I mean? But outside of that, let's keep the signs down. Let's keep the hands down. Let's be willing to spread love more than hate and violence and the things that continue to incarcerate the youth, because we want the next generation to put all that stuff behind us and not continue to have that stuff be a part of this world. So that's my piece on it. I don't know if either one of you guys want to add anything about that, but feel free.
when I say me, I've never been gang affiliated besides the army. That's the biggest gang that I've ever been a part of.
Yes, sir.
But as far as like I said, man, I've seen people lose their lives, even joining the military, thinking they was that mentality of gang banging or whatever, and they get out and and go home and things happen to them. So I mean, this flag football is only going to be temporary for some of those guys when they go over to the location to play and all that. Get home, you still got to face those people that that's going to be watching. Better to not be known than to be known. I mean, everybody know who you are. You don't have to show the world. I mean, now everybody sees it. That's on social media. I mean, if I was
Yeah.
if I was them on social media, I mean, I would ask them to remove it if they could, especially what it is, USA Football. I would ask them to remove it and put a different photo up there of them
Yeah.
without that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure they took. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
I'm sorry about that. I'm the same way, man. I've never been affiliated with games and things like that. Growing up, staying down the right path, showing a better example for the youth and things in that nature. To see, it's always one thing you get the opportunity to get chosen, and because you do take advantage of those opportunities in life, because sometimes some people want those opportunities and will never will be able to get those opportunities. So be appreciative of the opportunity that you do have and the fact that you are representing the country, and there's a time and place for everything, and that time and place for that right there was not appropriate to be doing that. So I do agree with you guys in the nature, and hopefully they, it gets to them and they do take that picture down, or it won't be none of that because people, like I said, people make mistakes in life. But it's what you do at the mistake that makes it better. So hopefully that could be able to be a learning experience, like you said, with Ant, just having a learning experience and hearing from some OGs to let you know that hey, cool is not that cool. You know what I mean? You don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
Like Pat said, you don't got to do all that to be known. You know what I mean? It's best if we know who you are, and we appreciate you for representing our country and things in that nature. But hey, in the same time, understand what you're doing it for and who you're doing it for, and who's all looking up for to you as what you do.
And I got one. Can you imagine if my whole platoon, when I was in the army, before we get ready to deploy, threw up gang signs? That's all I can tell you. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it
Yeah.
as football, but can you imagine if everybody in the army threw up gang signs? Some people put on masks, people put on, you won't go on this, and we took a
Yes,
picture.
sir.
Hmm.
That's the way to represent
Exactly.
the U.S. Nah.
Only
Yep.
perception what they're gonna have for you is that.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, and that's why I think, not to put words in Chun's mouth or anything like that, but Chun did make a statement when one of the last times he was on this show that he said the future of flag football is the women and the youth sport. And unfortunately, I would say that if men continue to carry themselves like this, or they continue to just want to be disrespectful or carry them a certain way, they're going to continue to lose their kind of hold on this sport. If you look at the women and the youth, none of them are throwing gang signs up in their pictures. They are representing the United States. They're representing the game that they play, and they're carrying themselves in that way. And so, I think that goes to say that if men are okay just giving up flag football to the women and the youth and let them run with it, and that's ultimately what becomes the larger population of this sport, by all means, But I
Yeah.
also think that as a man that is almost 40 years old, I got a little gray in my beard, and I can speak on stuff for the younger generation. You know what I mean? And I just know that I want my children to grow up in a different world, and I want things to look different. And so let's get away from how flag football used to be. That it just that there's so much of a party scene and so much of all of this just negativity surrounded by it. Let's bring it up. Let's lift people up. Let's do what sports can do for somebody that doesn't have the advantages that others do in life, which can bring them out of that negativity and provide them with the opportunity to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
That's an amazing opportunity,
That's
So let, yeah,
yeah, that's gonna be, and I pray that in the next within the next 4 years or 3 years, that picture some kind of way disappear. Because
yeah,
if you're looking at as far as the VP, what if the VP of the NFL was actually looking at that photo and thought about having the NFL versus the USA flag team as far as against them in the Pro Bowl or whatever? That just that turned me off. If I'm the VP, like,
yeah,
I'm good. I'd rather us play against the ladies, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
showcase that, you know. So I mean, it's just a lot that I don't think they put too much thought into it. I think probably it was a cool idea when they did it, but didn't think about it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah, and I know ultimately we can all speculate about what impact NFL players will have on the final Olympic team and all of that. But the NFL brand in itself, that is, they protect that shield, they protect that brand NFL players can't even go without wearing socks, or they're going to get fined. So there's a lot of things that NFL players, they have a standard that is set for them as a professional athlete that they have to uphold. And so if they have the opportunity to go into the Olympics, it's going to be a lot easier for them to transition into it compared to maybe somebody that is not having that same standard. So I think just everybody just needs to continue. Hey, I make a joke of it every day, right? Where I'm sending you guys pictures of officials all over the country that can't even tuck their shirt in. I think everybody needs to just take it up a notch as flag football grows, and as we get closer to the Olympics. We all need to hold ourselves to a new standard. No judgment on anybody. Not trying to throw shade or anything like that, but I want all of us to just continue to elevate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
So
gonna tell you, I can say the players that's in everybody that we're talking about in that picture, refing them this weekend, they was some of the respectfulest guys. So I don't see why that even happened or that picture was
yeah,
put there. It was other pictures than media taking pictures. They could have put other pictures there. So the way they conducted themselves at UNC Charlotte, hands down. So I don't see why they would put that. See what I mean? They
yeah,
did what they like. It wasn't. It was very respectful. Through the organization, through the building, when they played, to the refs and everything, was no problem at all. So, but when you see that picture, you see something different. And what we live in a lifetime now of, what you put out there is what they perceive you as. So, in
yeah,
saying that, what I mean, you don't want that to be perceived as wrong because that's not who they were this weekend. They
yeah,
they
for
they
sure.
really they really played hard. They really did what they had to do. They really was out there doing exactly what they were supposed to do, hands down. So I don't want that to get taken and what I mean, just because of that picture, because that's not who they are. That's not who you are. Like Pat said, you don't have to be just to be known. What I mean? You can be who you are. Like we said, like I always, represent that. You don't have to do all the stuff that to be cool. Be yourself and be who you are, and that's just enough for you to get selected to be this far is because you was being who you are away from around that setting or that environment and it made you feel like you had to do that. But outside of that, they was well demanded and played hard, well respected this weekend. It just that one pitch can get taken out of context real fast.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think we talk about it all the time as far as like an unsportsmanlike penalty. It's all about taking it. A lot of those penalties come from taking it outside of the lines. If it starts talking about stuff that is outside of football, let's keep it in the lines. You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
you said, Joe. They played and they earned their right. They're the final 12. Essentially, they've been told that they're the best 12 players in the country to represent the United States in flag football in Finland in another country. There are so many people playing flag football that wish they had that opportunity, wish they had that chance, and they were picked to do this. So let's keep it with inside football. Let's keep it about football. Let's keep it about who's the quarterback, who's the wide receiver. Like I would much rather have us having the conversations because I don't know a lot of those guys, and so I don't know anything
Exactly.
about them. Just like you said, it's the perception is what we're gonna perception is reality, right? And so
Hmm.
I would much rather get to know them as football players and what they bring to try to bring home that gold to the United States and go from there. So I appreciate y'all having this conversation. I think
Oh,
I think for all of us, hard conversations are important to have. I know last week I brought some stuff up, and I think it's something that hey, we got a podcast, and whether or not people are listening or not, it gives us a platform to be able to share some thoughts and share our opinions on things, and ultimately, just like anybody else, just like football players, we make mistakes. We are officials. We're human, and but that also means that we have feelings and emotions and we have opinions as well. And so this is our opportunity to kind of talk through that stuff and share our own experiences. And when we get onto that football field, it's all about football for us. It's all about
facts.
respecting the game and trying to provide the best, safest, fairest arena for flag football. Um, So yeah, so I appreciate y'all. As far as this podcast goes, we are everywhere. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Both of those will be posted tonight. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, TikTok. So we are all over the place. And this was our 20th episode. So I appreciate y'all being a part of this journey. I appreciate everyone that's listening. And just continue to like, subscribe, share, follow, so that you continue to know when the episodes are happening. I know that some guys will be in Tampa next weekend, and so we probably next week we'll be reviewing Tampa. Most of all, we're looking towards Nashville. I can't wait to see Joe. You're going to Nashville too, right?
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay, all right, cool. So I can't wait for all of us to be back in Nashville, and then hopefully we can do something fun as far as the show goes. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too, my guy.
Got it.